we could potentially be getting back some stellar starting pitchers and some top prospect promotions sooner than we expect. We're breaking down all of those top names and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And if you're watching on YouTube and haven't already, hit the little bell below. It subscribes you to the channel and gives you notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, most importantly, to Matt and I, and you know what, it's really important to you guys too this time of year, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. Through Subtext, it's an in-depth, personalized experience through text messaging alerts right to your phone, offering so much more than we can in this 30-minute podcast. And guys, as we're getting to playoff time, you guys are going to have those waiver wire questions, you're going to have those roster questions, and through Subtext, Matt and I, like we said, personalized experience where you're getting text messages right to your phone from us, and definitely will help you out this time of year. And guys, actually, today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. And, kind of teased it up top, guys. A lot of starting pitchers on this episode. Not only do we have, watch list guys, we also have some injured guys. We got some prospects, just names that you're going to want to make sure you know. But Matt, dealer's choice here, brother. Who we going with first?
All right, we're going with Jacob deGrom. I know he's 71% owned, and I know him and the Rangers are just dying to get him back. And any of the 71% owned owners are dying to get him back. He should be back on September 12th. This is more of go out and add him in the shower leagues because he's a difference maker in any league, whether it's anywhere from a 4-man to a 24-man league. It's just Jacob deGrom is just so incredible when he is pitching. He's the best pitcher in baseball. I don't need to read off his long career of Hall of Fame numbers, but Jacob deGrom is incredible and should be added universally.
Yeah, Matt, not much else to say here on deGrom. His first minor league rehab assignment start went pretty good. He is set to make his second one actually today as we're recording, so those numbers are not out yet. But it looks like deGrom could be back against Seattle on September 12th. Guys, that's going to be right in the midst of our playoffs. And if you can get an ace into your lineup like deGrom, hey, listen, all he needs to give us is about 4 or 5 good starts, and that's it, you to the finish line. And I think he's capable of that. 71% owned on Yahoo for deGrom. Might be lower or higher elsewhere, but just he should be universally owned. Make sure he's not available in your league. That is the point of bringing him up today. Let's move on, though. Let's talk about one of my our New York Yankees. Let's talk about some Clark Schmidt. What's funny? I'll throw a funny one out here. Every time my dad brings up the Yankees, he's like, when's Clark Schmidt coming back? And I'm like, you know what, Dad? His first rehab start is coming up this Friday. Had that lat injury Schmidt did. He is, was having a career year. Schmidt has the stuff to be that guy. Across 11 starts this year for Clark Schmidt, he had 5 wins, a 2.52 ERA, a 1.14 whip, 60 innings, 67 strikeouts, and Clark Schmidt is still only 45% owned. So if you can't get Jacob deGrom, I think Clark Schmidt is another good option. He might not be that guy that we saw breaking out, initially, but I still think he can give you a solid ERA, a solid whip around that K per 9. That Yankees team is going to win some games down the stretch here. So Clark Schmidt, another guy that honestly, if you have the IL spot, probably should be up to, I'd say 70% owned at this point, somewhere around where deGrom is, because he's going to be back sooner than later as well. So you know what? I like me some Clark Schmidt.
Yeah, Clark Schmidt is somebody that I don't know how to feel about him. On the season he's been better. Don't get me wrong, but I just want a little bit more. I want to see when he comes back what that's going to look like. So yeah, obviously I'm going to stash him at 45% owned, but I'm going to just be very hesitant on my or better yet, have the bar lower than I would normally for him. So we'll see. But let's move on to this next guy here, Casey Mize of the Detroit Tigers. Mize is somebody that I liked going into the season that utterly, completely disappointed me in every single way humanly possible. But I don't know how much it is of, injury and how much it is of him just being rusty because he really hasn't pitched in 2 years. Casey Mize is 6% owned. And, in his short little time up here, I think he pitched grand total of 8 games and 78 innings pitched, with a 4.23 ERA. Some things look good, some things look ugly. Let's put it that way. His fastball velocity is at 95.6 miles per hour. He's not walking guys, and he's producing ground balls. Unfortunately, he's giving up hard contact. He's allowing guys to barrel up, and his xERA is a 4.46, which is in line with his current ERA. Now, I think that there's a world and a possibility where he could possibly come back and be pretty good. It's not like he's been a bad pitcher in the past. He's actually been pretty good. It's just when he got hurt, it kind of was pretty much just the beginning of the downfall for him, which when there's a downfall, there's always a comeback. I love a good underdog story. He has a great amount of pitches too: four-seam fastball, slider, a split finger, knuckleball, sinker. Like, he has a pretty good arsenal, and he throws things pretty consistently. The only ones he really doesn't throw as much as knuckleball and sinker, but he lives on that split finger, slider, and four-seamer, which he's usually pretty successful with. And I just feel that he's worth not really a stash, but he's worth a watch list, right? Because I don't think we're ready to just sit here and have him take up an IL spot. He's somebody to just keep in the back of your head, say, okay, I'm going to watch. He's on his 4th rehab game, and he struck out 7 and allowed only 3 runs, which is pretty good. No walks, over 4.2 innings in Toledo, which is awesome. Now, I think there's maybe one more rehab start, and then he'll be back if they decide to activate him and bring him to the rotation. So with that, I'm not going to stash, but once I see what this last rehab outing is going to look like for him, that's when I'll maybe pull the trigger to either stash him in the aisle because that call is coming up, or to see, or to just smash and just say, okay, he's coming back. I'm going to ready to rock.
Yeah, I think Casey Mize is running out of chances here with these Detroit Tigers. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if things don't pan out next year, like the trade deadline, if he's moved and gets a fresh start somewhere else. But you know what? There's a chance. I'll throw out the Dumb and Dumber line. There's a chance he can regain the reason that he was the number 1 overall pick back in the day by the Detroit Tigers. 4 minor league rehab assignments starts in AAA for Mize. It's a 2.63 ERA, 13 innings pitched, 17 strikeouts, and a 102 whip. So I like that Mize has been good on his rehab assignment so far. As Matt said, he could have one more start, and then back to the rotation. Once again, Casey Mize is who we're talking about here. And you know what? If you missed out on deGrom or Schmidt, I think Mize is the next up stash. But I'm not dropping anybody, that's super stashable over Casey Mize. With that being said, we have some awesome bats coming up next, and a couple of awesome prospects that you are going to want to make sure that you don't miss. So once again, stay tuned because these great names are coming up next.
Wrong one. Passionate drive and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and live up to the peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number 1 ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Motors Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive with ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions may apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit is only applicable for U.S. customers. Prize Picks is America's number 1 daily fantasy sports platform in North America with over 5 million active members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. You pick more or less than 2 to 6 player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Exploring my skills on Prize Picks this season adds an extra layer of excitement to daily fantasy sports. With just a few taps, you could transform $10 into $1,000 easily. Prize Picks is incredibly user-friendly. You can make your selections and submit your entries in less than 60 seconds. And as a host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, I have some great things to start you off with. Offer Aaron Nola to have higher than 5 strikeouts in his next start. Offer Jonathan India to have 1.5 total bases in his next outing. And offer Bryce Harper to have higher than 0.5 home runs in his next game. Download the app today and use the code Locked On MLB first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use the code Locked On MLB first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have you had to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or free on the Amazon Fire TV channel app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast, Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. As the season unfolds, rely on our dynamic content, get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy leagues by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext. Your path to victory begins. And new customers and new members, pretty much, get a free 2 weeks. Click the link in the description below. I promise you won't want to leave us. Wow, I read that really fast.
Yeah, man. Damn, you railed that one off very quickly there, sir.
Yes. I just wanted to get through it. If you don't mind, that was a lot. Please take this next one.
Of course. I am actually very prepared for this next guy. We're going to talk some Jacob Wilson of the Oakland Athletics. So this is an interesting one. So kind of as we were writing the show and prepping, we did not know that Jacob Wilson was going to be activated today on Tuesday as we are recording. So this is an interesting one. It's an ad. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have to even stash him on your IL. He's a straight up ad. 8% owned for Jacob Wilson. And this guy was dominating the minor leagues this year. Through 53 games for Jacob Wilson, he had 208 at-bats, 48 runs, 28 doubles, 7 homers, 39 RBIs, 2 steals, and he had 14 walks to 15 strikeouts. That was good for a .433 batting average. And if you don't know about Jacob Wilson, he's 6'2", 190, plays shortstop. His hit tool is amazing. That's what he's known for. The guy can be a 300 hitter this year. Power is a little bit subpar. The speed, is a little bit plus, so he's not going to blow you away. I'm trying to think of a good comp here. He could be like a 10 homer, 10 steal guy that hits over 300, and if the Athletics ever get good, the counting stats could be good for him too. But for this year, I definitely think we should at least add him and see where things go. He was the number 26 prospect in all of baseball before he got called up. Once again, Jacob Wilson is who we are talking about, and in 2023, he was the 6th overall pick, and by all means, he is showing out so far. And honestly, he didn't even get a chance. He got hurt in his second at bat. Once he got called up a few weeks ago, or I think it might even be almost a month at this point. But let's give Jacob Wilson a chance. 8% owned on Yahoo, very, very widely available, shortstop eligible.
Yeah, he has a lot of different avenues that he can take. Like, is there really power upside? I'm not sure. I mean, in his college career, he had 12 home runs through 246 at bats, which is pretty nice. But obviously, that's a middle bat. But we really never got to see it in his short little stint in the minors because, it's pretty much just like a little bit of last year. And then this year, he only had 208 at bats and then got the call and got hurt, like Dom said, but had 7 home runs in those 208 at bats. That pace, honestly, is about 7, 14, 21 home runs, maybe 24. So, I mean, that's what you'd hope for. Speed is quasi there. I want to see more from that, but the batting average, like Dom said, is fantastic. He's an interesting prospect. I don't know if he's going to be the difference maker that we're going to be expecting for this year, but he's definitely worth an add because of the volatile finish that he could possibly have. So I'd add him, see what he produces over the next couple of weeks, and see what happens. But this next guy here, I can't wait for the return, and that's Brooks Lee of the. Wow, my head is spinning today. Minnesota Twins. Thank you, Dom.
Gotcha.
Brooks Lee had got the call up, which I didn't expect him to get the call this year, at least until around now, when Royce Lewis got hurt and was obviously again, and was actually pretty successful. 99 at bats, 8 runs, 2 doubles, 2 bombs, 15 ribs, 3 stolen bases, batting .253, an OBP of 309, a slug of 333, an OPS of 642. That was all looking fantastic, for a first time looking at the bigs. The stats aren't too impressive, right? But you look at his minor league track record, especially, this year, and you look at 131 at bats, you look at 28 runs, you look at 10 doubles, 8 bombs, 29 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting .359 on the year, an OBP of 417, a slug of 618, and a 1035 OPS. The kid actually has a lot of upside. I think the power was taking a step forward this year. because last year he had 16 home runs through 501 at bats. He already had half of that in a quarter of the at bats this year. So I think that there was something that he tapped into this year that he was going to take a step forward for, and I think Brooks Lee was going to be definitely dangerous this year. So when he gets that, when he returns, that's where it's going to be fun, right? It's just a matter of where he's going to play. I think they'll make room for him. Maybe they'll get smart and just put Royce Lewis as a DH, and we have nothing to worry about. But who knows? But right now, he's ready for a rehab assignment. Honestly, with a hitter, it's not like a pitcher. It's 4 games max, and then he'll be back up in that lineup pretty quickly. So I think Brooks Lee is right around the corner to getting that to returning. I'm actually stashing him. He could be a difference maker down the stretch.
Yeah, I have Brooks Lee stashed in a few leagues at this point. Another guy that's 8% owned on Yahoo, so we're giving you those deep cuts that are widely available. Help you get you guys ready for the playoffs. Second, third, and short eligibility on Yahoo for Brooks Lee. So nice little Swiss Army knife there through his 26 games, as Matt mentioned. He was solid. He wasn't blowing you away, but he was holding his own. He was trying to come into his own before he got hurt after 26 games. Has missed almost a month, probably closer to 3 weeks there for Brooks Lee. I think he could be a little bit of a difference maker down the stretch. I really think he could hit for some average. I think he's going to give you a little bit of pop, a little bit of speed. The Twins are a pretty good team, so the counting stats should be pretty solid as well. Just honestly, I would even say at this point, make sure Brooks Lee's not out there in your league. He's a nice little stash. I really do think this kid has upside, and I'm going to love him next year. Probably be taking him everywhere if the value's right. So let's move on. Let's throw in one prospect here. Let's get the little prospect tease in. Let's talk some Tink Hentz. By the way, Brooks Lee was the 16th overall prospect in all of baseball before he got the call. Like I said, we're moving on, and we're going to talk some Tink Hentz right now. Tink Hentz is a starting pitcher for those St. Louis Cardinals. Damn, it's football season. I almost said Arizona Cardinals. But Tink Hentz, 6'1", 195, 22 years old, just really coming into his own. I'm actually mad that I don't have him in any dynasty spots. But on the year, 17 starts for Tink Hentz, a 2.67 ERA. Over that time, it's 70 innings pitched with 94 strikeouts, and batters are hitting 204 against him and a 105 whip. So Tink Hentz has just really been dominant this year. I think there's a chance we see him and he gets a cup of coffee. It really just depends on what the Cardinals want to do. He's really known for his changeup, but he has a good fastball and slider as well. So like I said, just remember the name Tink Hentz. We're definitely going to see him next year, but I definitely think there's a chance he gets a cup of coffee here in September and could be worthy of being on our rosters for at least a couple of starts.
Yeah, I mean, he gets the call. I'm excited. There's a lot of things that I like about this season for Tink Hentz versus the past. One, the ERA has been good for a full season. 2, he's been able to handle the AA a lot better than he did last year. He had 54 innings pitched, and he had a 6.13 ERA through it. I mean, I'm sorry, a 5.47 ERA. Now this year he comes in and he has a 2.67. I like that a lot better. He adjusted, and to boot, he has 94 strikeouts through 70 innings pitched. The kid took a step forward. I think that he does get the call, and I think it's almost imminent.
Yeah.
I want to stash him almost anywhere. I just, it's a matter of, can you afford to have the roster clog is kind of the thing.
Talent's always been there for the kid, and he's the 51st prospect in all of baseball.
Yeah, he has a lot of things going for him that I'm really impressed about, and the fact that we're taking this step forward and him pushing to get that call is something that I'm truly interested in. I think Tink Hentz is going to have a bright career, and I think it might start in the next couple of weeks, so we shall see. Coming up next, we have guys that you're going to want to know about, and that I think we're going to see possibly get a cup of coffee, and you'll find out right after this.
Whenever I need a pick-me-up after a night out, or it's a really hot day and I need to be hydrated now, I get myself a Liquid IV. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. Because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Blast off with the iconic summer flavors of Popsicle Firecracker, a festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon lime, tart cherry, and raspberry flavors. Find all of your favorite flavors on their website, from acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using the promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Tear, pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone. Powered by LIV HydroSense, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And guys, GameTime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, and their lowest price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. With their last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute for sports, concert, comedy, and theater near you. Flash deals, they save you even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. With their zone deals, you save even more when you choose a section and let GameTime choose the seats. With their all-in pricing, you can toggle this feature and it shows you the total up front, so you have no surprise fees when it comes to checkout time. With their seat views, you can actually get a panoramic view from the actual seat you'll be sitting in on the app before you buy. With their lowest price guarantee, GameTime will credit you up to or 110% back of the difference. And GameTime's ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices always guaranteed. And Matt, unless you're super prepped and ready to go, I was going to take this next guy. Unless you're all ready to go.
Go for it.
All right, so let's talk about another starting pitcher. And like I said, that's kind of almost been the theme of today's episode. Let's talk some Brandon Spote. He is a Mets starting pitcher prospect, and honestly, he's been flying up prospect list all season long. He's actually up to the number 40th prospect according to MLB.com. And Mr. Spote has made 19 starts this year with a 2.96 ERA, 100 innings pitched, only 36 walks, 116 strikeouts, a 195 average against him, and a 105 whip. So he's actually been really, really dominant for those New York Mets. He has a big frame on him at 6'3", 215. He's 23 years old, has a really good fastball, changeup, slider combo. He has the stuff. He just really needed to hone it, right? And it really looks like he's taken that step this year. I don't know if we see him this year. I know the Mets have kind of been battling around. And maybe if we see some injuries, there might be a chance Spote gets the call, especially with the way he's been, rising up, fantasy, radars, and not only fantasy radars, but actually real life baseball radars too. So there's a chance. I'm not counting on it, but Brandon Spote's definitely a name that you're going to want to remember in case he does get the call. And once again, he pitches for those New York Mets.
Yeah, I mean, he has good stuff. I don't think we're seeing him this year.
Yes, so sad.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to run to go get him either. With his recent promotion to AAA, that 9.24 ERA kind of scares me away a little bit. I think he needs a little time to adjust, but he's definitely worth mentioning because of his fast rise. Usually pitchers, if they're going to get the call, they don't even get the AAA. Usually they go right from AA to the bigs. So I guess they wanted to see a little bit more. So that could be my red flag. But he's a guy to keep in the back of your head because if he does get the call, even on a spot start, it's worth adding and see what he does. You may not start him, but if he, plays well.
If he pitches against like the White Sox or the Nationals or a team like that, I might add him. But otherwise, I'd probably hold off.
I mean, even that, I don't know, because we're in crunch time, right? So, that's the thing. I'm trying to either clinch my playoff spot or I'm in the playoffs because, if anything, he's going to be called up in the next week or two. So I might add him, and if he's going to see what he does, if he has a good start, I'll bench him and then start him on the next week and see how, or at the end of the week, depending on how my week's just going in general. So like he's just somebody to keep in the back of the mind that most people aren't even going to have a thought process. Oh, that's a good prospect. No, like Sprout is not somebody that you're thinking as a good prospect because you got this guy, this next guy, Nolan Schultz of the Chicago White Sox, who's like owned like 2% everywhere. That is a bigger pitching prospect in my opinion.
Big time.
Yeah, 6'9", which I love, 220 pounds, throws gas, and is having a pretty good season. This year has a 2.35 ERA with 76 innings pitched with 97 strikeouts, a .94 WHIP. The thing about him is, this is the most he's ever pitched in the bigs. He is in, I believe, Double A right now. Yeah, and the White Sox are in a weird position. They can call him up and start putting, seats, butts back in the stands. And with this new call up, it'll, put some people to watch the game at home. But ultimately, Schultz, I think, is more of a next year guy that we're going to see midway through the season. But he's another name. He gets the call. This kid could be dangerous. He's the number 16 prospect overall right now. And
15.
15 now. I got it bumped up, which is great.
15.
And, I just think that this kid has a lot of good stuff. What I like about him, too, is he throws the gas and his body's going to be able to handle it because he's so darn big. So I think Nolan Schultz is somebody that you should also be keeping in the back of your head.
Yeah, Noah Schultz is actually, the best starting pitching prospect we're talking about today. It's literally him and Jackson Jobe in my book, and then kind of everybody else. And the Painter's healthy, he's up there too. He's got the stuff. But you know what, Schultz and Jobe, you can throw them whichever way you want. I think they're both going to be really good. Mainly a fastball slider, combo for Schultz. Hopefully he can develop that third pitch, and control's another thing. Just like a lot of these young guys, control is something that they always need to work on. But you know what, Schultz really hasn't had a huge control problem. So you know what, I like it. I don't know what the White Sox are going to do, I'll be honest with you. Like Matt said, there's a chance we see him this year. Maybe after they have fully gained that time, you see him maybe for a couple of starts at the end of the year, just to see, the White Sox want to see what they have for next year. Schultz can make the rotation next year. Honestly, out of spring training, I wouldn't be shocked if Noah Schultz makes the White Sox rotation out of spring training next year. He's 21 years old, as Matt mentioned, 6'9", 220. Love the frame on the kid. Honestly, if he gets the call, I probably will be looking to add him unless he's starting against like the Yankees in Yankee Stadium or something like that. Let's keep things pushing here. Let's move on. Let's talk some Justin Crawford. He is the son of former All-Star Carl Crawford. Justin Crawford is in the Philly system. He's 6'2", 188. He's really known for his speed, man, and his glove. He is a fast boy, but honestly, he's been progressing in a way I don't think a lot of people suspected. Really has been good with the batting average the last couple of years. And even as he moved to Double A this year, has still maintained over 300 batting average. So total this year, Justin Crawford has played 96 games in the minors. That was good for a 304 batting average across 401 at-bats, 71 runs, 22 doubles, 4 triples, 7 homers, 52 RBIs, and 37 steals. So as I said, that's what Crawford is really known for. I don't think he's ever going to be a huge power guy. He might be able to contribute in the category because he's 6'2", 188. Still only 20 years old for Justin Crawford, so I really think he could come into his own. Another guy that I don't think we necessarily see him this year. Phillies are kind of stacked. They don't really need to make that move. But at this time of year, guys, we just want to make sure that these names are in your head, because if they do get the call, like, hey, I remember Dom and Matt talking about these guys. We're talking about some of the best prospects in the game. And if you play in dynasty leagues, big keeper leagues where you keep most of your roster, and these guys aren't owned, it's always a nice little sneaky move to add them to your roster for a next year. And I really think Justin Crawford is coming into his own and could be a guy that we're talking about in a great lineup come next year. So once again, don't forget the name Justin Crawford.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where he'll play. It's just a matter of, I guess, who walks after this year. But for this year, if he does get the call, it will be interesting. I think that he'll be more of a platoon play, but he could provide some kind of value. But yeah, pretty much, I'm gonna just say, Dom, I have nothing left to say. You pretty much took every word out of my mouth that I would have said.
Gotcha.
So well done. But guys, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review. And if you like us so much, which we know you do, check out our boy Sully at Locked On MLB. He runs a great show as well. So guys, with that being said, have a great rest of your day. Peace.
See ya.